Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Wednesday edition, Minnesota football party, Care 11 inclusion with Julia Daniels. Ron Johnson joins as well a little later today. But here we are on the Locked On Vikings YouTube channel, Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel, and the audio goes up on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Hopefully you didn't bet on the Lynx last night. Before the show is over, we will tell you which other Vikings will be in the NFL Top 100. We had our first Viking inclusion as they unveiled 100 through 91. The Vikings were a takeaway machine last year. Can they continue that? ESPN wrote a glowing feature about the Vikings' treatment of families. We will address that, but we start with some fake Vikings blockbusters stemming from the Jalen Ramsey and Minkah Fitzpatrick deal a couple days ago. Let's meet today's crew on the football party. Julia?
I'm Julia Daniels, sports reporter at Care 11, holding it down right now while Reggie Wilson's on paternity leave. Make sure you're keeping up with all of our streaming shows that we've got going on too. We have one on every Wednesday as well. Wednesday is like my podcast day. We have our Wednesday night show that happens, Care 11 Sports Plus, every night on the Care 11 app. But of course, we're talking Vikings. It's always fun every Wednesday to put my football brain back in my head. So.
And I'm Ron Johnson, former Gophers and NFL wide receiver, host of the Ron Johnson Show. Just sat down with Dante Culpepper and Vikings quarterback Max Brosmer. We'll get to him next week. But I want to talk about, if we make a trade, do we give up a tight end too?
Ooh, let's jump right into that. I think that's a good starting point. I spent a lot of time on this morning, and it is hard. It is hard to come up with an equitable trade for both sides. When you see a starter for a starter, like we saw with Pittsburgh and Miami, everyone kind of comes out mad. Yeah. Like, I mean, Miami's like, well, now we don't have Jalen Ramsey anymore. What? How are we going to guard people on the outside? And Pittsburgh's like, wait, we gave up Minkah Fitzpatrick? No one's really super happy with it. It's hard to please everybody. I've come up with a couple ideas, and the first place I look to areas of depth. Where do the Vikings have bodies that they could maybe afford to shed? I don't think anybody would like giving up this guy, but I look at the defensive tackle position, and I look at, you've acquired Jonathan Allen, you've acquired Javon Hargrave, you have a couple of young guys in the pipeline. Jalen Redmond, he had a really good rookie year. Levi Drake Rodriguez is there as well. Maybe Harrison Phillips feels superfluous at this point. Maybe you don't think you need to have a third highly paid defensive tackle. So where does he go? Well, I thought San Francisco would be a really good fit. San Francisco lost Malik Collins. They lost Javon Hargrave to the Vikings. They're super young at defensive tackle. Super young. No one would know any of their defensive tackles. They're not household names. They're rookie contract guys, low drafted guys. I couldn't find a good return. I couldn't find someone to send back to the Vikings that made any sense. Maybe Jason Pinnock, who's like a safety, but he's had a decent career. That wouldn't be a fair trade. I also, though, went looking around at what cornerbacks might be available out there, because the Vikings could use another cornerback. I came up with Jamel Dean of Tampa. Jamel Dean's had a really nice career. He's got a couple of years left on his deal. Why would Tampa give him up? Well, they just drafted a cornerback in the second round, Benjamin Morrison, drafted another cornerback in the third round. So they've got a pipeline there. If those guys look ready, Jamel Dean to the Vikings, Harrison Phillips to the Bucs, and the Vikings probably toss in a pick to make that a little more fair. That's my blockbuster. Phillips for Dean. Bucs get a defensive tackle. Vita Vea is getting up there in years. Jamel Dean comes to the Vikings. He's the CB3. Ron Johnson, what do you think of that, and what's your blockbuster?
I like that. You're not giving up too much. I'm gonna piss people off. So I want to go big or go home, right? So I don't know if the other two teams would make this trade, because I got two teams. I should have let Julia go because I don't want to steal this, but I got two teams that I would do this deal with. You look at the Minnesota Vikings, Sam, you made a great point about the defensive depth. You talk about takeaways and all this other stuff. You have an offense that's pretty much deadlock set. You got a quarterback, you got an offensive line, you got running backs, you got receivers, you got tight ends. What do you need? You need cornerbacks. So I want to go get Sauce Gardner from the Jets or Patrick Surtain from the Broncos. And I'm willing to give up Jordan Addison.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm giving up Jordan Addison, and I'm also going to give up our second round pick from 2027, and I would give them our third round pick from 2028. And I would say Jordan Addison is a first round pick. You're getting a first round pick, and hey, we're going to give you a second and a third. You probably can pull like a fourth and a third from those teams, or maybe a fourth, because you got to let them feel like they won. Maybe a third, because a third is good. We'll give you our third. You give us yours. But I know the Jets and the Broncos both wouldn't want to do that. Probably trade thirds, because they're like, look, you guys are going to be a better team. You're going to give us a worse pick, so you'd have to maybe go fourth. We'll give you our fourth. Oh, sorry, we'll give you our third. You give us your fourth. And I think that would kind of be an even swap, or your second, our third round pick. You can swap those, and then also an additional pick. But yeah, I like the Jordan Addison for Sauce Gardner or Patrick Surtain. Like, give me a corner. I think Justin Jefferson is good enough. I think you can probably get Ty Felton. We had Max Brosmer on. I don't want to spill too much tea, but he said Rondale Moore looks really good. He said he's moving fast. He said he remembers the Rondale Moore of the Purdue Ohio State game days, and he said, he's feeling like he could be that guy. So, hearing a healthy Rondale Moore could challenge for that wide receiver 3-4 spot too. I'm like, is Jalen Naylor enough? And then maybe go get an old guy. I didn't look too deep into the offense of what you can pull with that trade, or another guy you can go get. I'm like, maybe you can find another older receiver out there just to go with Justin Jefferson and be a filler, because TJ Hawkinson is going to be your wide receiver too. Let's be for real. Like, we haven't had Hawkinson, Addison, and Jefferson healthy with a quarterback like this. Do you need him, or could you get away with maybe going to get another guy, going to get another tight receiver to fill in that group?
I'm looking at the contract statuses here. Surtain is signed through 2029, so he did his extension. Let's check Sauce.
Correct.
Let's see what Sauce has done. Jordan, we are legitimately a year or two away. I'm going to guess they pick up the 5th-year option on Addison, but we're a year or two away from having this conversation.
Does he want that though? Remember, you don't have to. You could be pissed off about getting your 5th year picked up versus give me a new contract. So, because that was the Justin Jefferson argument. They're like, JJ's not going to make it to that. So, I don't think Jordan. I mean, as pissed off as Jordan Addison and his dad get on Instagram and Twitter, I don't think he's going for that 5th year. He's got me like, man, hey, give me $100 million. I deserve it.
Yeah, so, I mean, because after year 3, that's when you start talking extension. So that's correct. After this year, that's when Addison can start to posture for that extension. By the way, I would say Sauce more attainable than Surtain. Sauce hasn't signed his extension yet, so he's deciding if there's another bad year in New York, and it's a failure there with
it will be a bad
Justin
year.
Fields. I could see Sauce saying, "Get me out." Get me out. And maybe he's already thinking, get me out. He's got 2 years left. That 5th year option got picked up. So
I will say I know where he wants to go, but I don't think it's going to happen. But he wants to go back home. He wants to go play for the Lions. But it's because he's mentioned it. Guys from my high school have mentioned it. Somebody he joked about it, I think, on I heard his Twitch stream. I don't know what the hell that is. But he joked about it on there. Somebody must have commented man, you should come back home. And he said something like, yeah, I'd love to, but I forgot what he said, but they basically kind of tongue in cheek. So, but DJ Reed, because I was looking at what other cornerbacks are out there. DJ Reed is now with the Lions, which of course, Sam, you remember that was the guy I wanted to. And the Lions went and got him. But when I did this, I looked at the top 5, and you got Sauce Pat, Trent McDuffie, Jalen Johnson from the Bears, which I don't know why he's so high, but whatever. Derek Stingley Jr. and DJ Reed. I would move Jalen Johnson down below DJ Reed, but I don't know. Maybe because I hate the Bears.
So, Julia, your trade is Bo the cat for Reggie's dog, and just straight up?
No, never. Would never get rid of this little
Would you
guy.
trade the cat for the baby?
No.
What?
This guy, he takes care of his bathroom business all on his own.
You don't want diaper duty?
Reggie's in the middle of it right now. That's for sure.
elbow
Yeah.
deep
So
in
you
the
had
diaper.
Julia, you had a big reaction when Ron stole yours. You were thinking Addison is the guy.
Yeah.
For the and like honestly, that's probably the best name. That's probably because can you pay Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and in
No.
theory JJ McCarthy? It's like that's a lot. That's like kind of what the Bengals are doing right now.
Yeah. I mean,
But
they've
yeah,
got
go
like
ahead.
a year or two left with this offense,
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vikings could hold the cards. I mean, they could force him and just say, hey, if you want to sit out, sit out. And then that makes him look bad for the next team. So that's the other game they could play, which do you want to have that argument?
Yeah. Well, and then I think that he gets advised to make himself look as good as possible at this point in his career too. So there's that as well. And also the fact that I'm excited to see what Jalen Naylor looks like this season too, because we've been watching him at practice. He's put on a ton of muscle. And also what we've talked about before is that he had so many reps with JJ McCarthy last year being the number 3 receiver and being out there with JJ instead of with Sam Darnold. And so they have this, relationship already that maybe potentially could be worthwhile if they want to get rid of Jordan Addison. So that's kind of where I was coming from on that too. And I thought that Sauce was a better fit for that trade than Pat Surtain, even though I love Pat Surtain. But yeah, I thought Sauce would be the one.
And the Broncos did draft Jahdae Barron too, so they've got a little depth at corner. So maybe they eventually could part with Pat, but he just signed that extension. That's a linchpin of George Payton's team building. I think he would stay. Jets, any member of the Jets is fair game. It's as far as I'm concerned.
They're all trying to get out of there.
I think the Jordan Addison discussion is going to get really interesting after this season, because then he's at the point in his career where he's going to want that payday. We're going to have the discussion about whether the Vikings can afford 2 high-priced receivers when they also have a high-priced tight end. Can you succeed with just Justin Jefferson and a bunch of sort of supplementary receivers in his orbit? Could Jalen Naylor be the guy that gets an extension next offseason? These are all questions for the future, but I think very interesting to raise. When we return, Aaron Jones pops up in the NFL Top 100. Who else will show up for the Vikings? That's next. Brought to you today by FanDuel. Summer sports in full swing. WNBA Commissioner's Cup just ended. Fever beat the Lynx. Minnesota Twins approaching the All-Star break. It's a struggle. Take the under. But we got baseball. We got golf. We got high-stakes soccer. It's all at FanDuel. You can bet on every single sport going. You can bet live. You can put together same-game parlays. There are a lot of options for your wagering dollar. Make every moment more at FanDuel. Make it thrilling when you watch the game. You can do it from the beach while you're getting a little sunburn on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. They've got a lot of promotions. They can help you put together your wager with good metrics and matchups and fun ways to bet. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. July tradition, unlike any other. The NFL releases its top 100 players, and they unveiled 100 through 91 yesterday, and we had a Viking inclusion. Aaron Jones, number 98. Aaron Jones, in some ways, coming off a career year for the Vikings. I want to get your thoughts on first Jones, but also how many Vikings, what other Vikings should we expect to see in the NFL Top 100? I'll give Julia the first crack at this one.
Yay! First of all, congrats to Aaron Jones. That's pretty cool. 98, top 100. I don't think I saw that coming, so good for him.
He was not on it last year, so this was him moving up from the guys that were left out in the cold, and now he's in it. Congrats.
I love that.
Yeah.
I would say I'm not going to take the easy one of Justin Jefferson because
Why don't you predict where Jefferson will rank? I think that's a worthy prediction to make.
I'm gonna go 4
Mm-hmm.
for him. I just think after the season that he had last year, they're not gonna give him 1 or 2 like they have before. But I also think Byron Murphy's gonna crack the list this year.
I like that.
After his season last year. So, I mean, he had a career year as well. And how many interceptions did he have? I can't even remember.
Yeah, like 6.
Something like that. So I feel like Byron Murphy's going to make the list.
Yeah, I wrote down Murphy. I think that's a good one. And I feel like he doesn't get a lot of pub around the league, and maybe that will keep him off. But Ron, do you give us your Vikings candidates in the top 100?
So one thing I'll say is they did come out with the potential number 1 spot guys. Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Jaden Daniels, Myles Garrett, and Lamar Jackson. Justin Jefferson is not even on that list. So
Saquon,
that's what
I think.
but in their minds, that's the top 6 right there. They don't have Justin Jefferson even in their top 6 for the NFL. Now, this is, of course, the NFL writers, and they just go off of whatever they think, and they're not thinking it through. Because I'm like, if you put Jamar Chase in there and you don't put Justin Jefferson in as a potential number 1, even though we know Justin won't be 1. But the funny thing is, Patrick Mahomes has gotten knocked down a peg, and so if I look at Vikings that I think could be on there, I had Murphy on there. I didn't see Aaron Jones coming. Justin Jefferson's an easy one. I think the problem is going to be production. So Hawkinson wasn't productive, but are they going to say, you know what, he is one of the best tight ends in the NFL? I could see TJ Hawkinson being up in the 80s. I could also see Christian Darrisaw being up there in the 80s again, but was hurt. But is it just like he's still good? Like if Trent Williams is hurt, he's still a top 25 guy in the NFL. So I wonder how much injury has to play on this. Are they going to give those guys the benefit of the doubt? So that's the only thing that I looked at. But that would be my names: Darrisaw, Murphy, Hawkinson, Jefferson. I thought JJ McCarthy, but I'm like, nah, that's too premature. They're not going to do that. My question is too, and this is we'll get more to this when we go. Will Aaron or will Sam Darnold make in the 80s? Like, will they put Sam Darnold in this all of a sudden?
Oh yeah,
because now he's
going off of last year's performance.
Correct. Because I mean, how could you leave him out? It's last year's performance, but I mean, let's be real. Like, guys, I see the tweets all the time about this. It's still a popularity contest. Like, it's still who's the most popular guys, who did everybody like. Kirk Cousins. I don't think they know him. That's the problem. It's like it's a popularity contest.
More popular, so maybe next year.
He's a NFC North guy. In the NFC North, everybody knows his stuff. Nationally, he needs to do more. Like, I know he went on Good Morning Football. I know he's made some comments about PFF, like publicly on Twitter, about they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to his position. He keeps saying, okay, if y'all don't believe I'm a top 10 safety, I'm gonna show y'all. So I don't know. I mean, if he was gonna be in it, I thought he would have been in the right net, like the 90s. Like, I don't like, as you get to 80s and 70s, you just got too many other guys to fill. But from a tight end standpoint, I don't see another, like, you got Kittle, you got Kelsey, who the hell else? You got Ertz, or is Ertz retired?
Ertz is still playing, but he's not doing much. Top 5.
Yeah, so like
you got Laporta.
Bowers. You got to go. Yeah, I guess Bowers. They love Bowers, and you got to go Hawkinson. So, but where did the tight end start running at? That's the question. Is where they put him. So that would be my guys though. The tight end, tackle, and then I have Murphy as well in corner. The only sneaky one, but I don't think he'll get there, is Blake Cashman. I don't think he has that ability. The other one could be Jonathan Gennard. I think Gennard could push forward with the sacks. With all his sacks. But then do you put Gink in, like, together? Like, is it a 81 and 80? And those are your two, guys in there, because they both had, Gink has interceptions at DN, outside linebacker. So, yeah, it could be a nice, decent amount. 14 wins too for Kevin O'Connell. Like, you start to look at that team and say, how many guys should be in our top 100?
Now that you say that, Ron, I think Grenard's got to be on there. Here's a question, just off the cuff. If you had to take Gink or Grenard for the next 5 years, who you choosing?
Me or Julie? You want
Yeah.
Julie to go first? I'll go. Julie, go first.
ahead.
I'd go Grenard.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
I
agree.
think they're so evenly. I mean, they're so evenly matched in impact, but he is such a team guy, and I mean, he's for me personally too. Just being a journalist, he's so easy to talk to. He's always willing to talk to us, and the team loves him. So I would go Bernard.
It's like TJ Watt versus JJ Watt, to be honest. Both really good, both impactful, but TJ drops more. JJ gets after the quarterback. And in today's NFL, the gink plays can be nullified by smart quarterbacks. Because once those quarterbacks realize this dude is doing that, they didn't throw it anymore. They're like, oh, shoot, wait a minute. No, I'm not throwing that. He knows what we're doing. So, I think, his boom or bust, Jonathan Grenard, he's getting there on his sacks because that's what he does. So same with JJ Watt's going to get there. TJ Watt needs some flash. He needs some stuff to happen, and then he becomes a huge impact player. So I'd say the same. I think Julie is dead on. Give me Grenard, especially for 5 years. Give me Grenard. Like, he's going to get after that quarterback. That whole pick six thing, that's a flash in the pan. I don't know how many times he can do that before, teams start game planning that, being like, hey, he's going to do this. Let's run a slip screen. Because then you just do the, look out, pump, and then you come right up under him with a slip screen. I just threw my pin. But you do a slip screen right underneath him. In high school, we called it pro queen for swing. And so you swung the running back out, and then you swung the receiver back underneath. And it was such a cool play. Like, it was when I was a freshman in high school, I could not wait to be a junior because the best receiver got that play. So I could not wait to be a junior for when it was my time to run the pro queen is what we called it. But for swing, pro queen. And so you just come back underneath, and all you do is it looks like a mesh like this. So it looks like it's a receiver screen or a running back screen. You make Gink do that, and then you see the receiver come right underneath him, and the entire line flows with it. So you kick everybody out, and you literally just run down the line of scrimmage like a tunnel screen, and you end up on the backside, and nobody's back there. So I feel like Gink could fall for that, because that's like in the NFL, you see a lot of those tunnel screens. He's susceptible to it because he plays the play, which is same as Ed Reed, though. I mean, we've heard the Troy Polamalu stories from Ryan Clark when we had Ryan Clark on our show. Troy Polamalu was the same way. He was going to do something that was not a part of the play, and if you could figure it out, you could beat him. And that's why, every once in a while, Peyton Manning would say that, like, oh, I knew you would do this. Or Belichick was the best. I heard when he was talking about that. He's like, oh, I knew Ed Reed would do this, so I'm going to do this. And it was just like, that's why I love the chess match of this. And so I got to go Grenard too.
I probably think about once a week how Van Ginkel dropped that pick six against Detroit in the last game. Like, that still haunts me. I'm like, man, what would have happened if he would have returned that to the house? It might have changed everything. Might have won the game. Might have been the 1 seed. Might have gone to the Super Bowl.
Man,
Am
I still wake up and think about the red zone inefficiency of Kevin O'Connell. Like,
yeah,
that's gonna harp in my head until, like, at some point, I don't know when I'll find time. Maybe on my trip to Nashville, I have some time. I got to go through all 11 plays, because after I talked to Keenan McCardell and he explained to me what the calls were, now I'm like, we got to get Keenan McCardell on the show. I don't know if he wants to put it on paper, but man, I would love for him to just walk us through some of the red zone thoughts in that game and what they thought Detroit's defense was going to do. Because Kevin O'Connell had it dialed up as if he knew the coverage, and Aaron Glenn had it dialed up like, I know you think you know, but you don't know. And it was just like, oh, Sam Darnold just got thrown to the land. He was a slaughter. He got thrown out there, and it was just like, hey, yep, Sam, you. And then everybody blamed him, though. It's like, this is the Sam Darnold that we knew would come out eventually. Mm-hmm. Really? Like, week 18, you wanna take this victory lap?
There it is.
Like,
there it is.
Week 18, they took a victory lap. Like, sit down. Like, I was so sick of the Twitter people in that week. I was like, y'all are so fake. Like, all you guys love Sam Darnold for 16 weeks, and now week 18, I knew this was gonna come. I knew it. Here it is. Shut up.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Top 100, I think that we're going to see Harrison and Byron Murphy in the next 10 to 20. I think Christian Darrisaw should be a top player. Hey, yeah.
You think Harrison Smith is in the top 100?
He was last year, so
I know, but okay. That's a good. That would be a sneaky one too. I don't know how much people still think he has it.
You think he dropped out?
I mean, well, think about what was he ranked? Remember for the safety rankings, he was like 20th or something, right? 21st.
Yeah, it's PFF though. That's
right,
that's a different governing body.
True.
We're not going to count their opinion. I think Darisaw is deserving of a top 50 spot. The injury kind of hurts his case, and I think Jefferson will be 8th. I think he's going to be
Eighth?
top 10. Top 10. For whatever reason,
he should be 3. I think he should be 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But I'm biased. I am biased. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Ignore the logo on my shirt. Ignore it. I'm a little biased.
No affiliations whatsoever.
I mean, honestly, Julia, like if you had to, and I know these are your guys, LSU, Alabama, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, can you really split them up and say one is better than the other?
No, because it depends on the season.
That's
also,
what I'm saying.
It's the same argument that I always say it is. Justin Jefferson has been dealt way more adversity in the league than Jamar Chase has. Jamar's literally playing with the quarterback that he won a national championship with.
Right. And Justin's had
He's been playing with the same quarterback for how
quarterbacks?
many years now? Five years. Justin Jefferson has had a different quarterback the past 3 years or something like that. I mean, he had 4 quarterbacks in one season.
About to say, that's what I mean. Like he's probably on quarterback 8 right now with JJ McCarthy. Like that's that, but I don't understand the adoration, I guess is the word. People adore Jamar Chase. Like they just talk about one so much and they forget about 18.
Well, I think it's just because they've won playoff games.
Okay, I give you
I
that.
think when it comes down to it,
But as LeBron would say, why are we so? LeBron said, "Why are we so infatuated with championships? Why does it matter?"
Yeah.
Like, what are we? I can be the best. Who cares about Michael Jordan? Like you.
Well, and I also think Jamar Chase, just like personality-wise, probably has like a bigger personality than Jefferson does. And also, Jamar Chase was like a bigger name at LSU than Justin Jefferson was.
He was up until that 4 touchdown game, and everybody's like, "Whoa, who was number 2?"
Yeah,
Everybody's like, "Wait, what? Wait, we talking about this number 1 kid? Wait, who's number 2?" And so the Eagles didn't watch that game though. The Eagles could not have watched that championship game that Justin Jefferson went off. They couldn't.
And I think they
thought Jalen Reagor was better than Justin Jefferson. So the Eagles, I mean, they got themselves a Super Bowl, so fine. But there's no way if they drafted Justin Jefferson, they would have won the Super Bowl already with Justin Jefferson. Like Justin Jefferson would have a Super Bowl by now. Like he would have had it.
But I don't think there was any way for people to predict that Justin Jefferson would be the receiver that he is today.
But over Jalen Reagor, though, you could have done
that. But over, yes, absolutely.
I'm just talking about 21 and 22. That was it. That was it. Everything else, because was it CeeDee Lamb? Who else was in that group? Was that CeeDee Lamb's year? Or no?
But I also think Justin Jefferson has kind of had a villain arc in a way where he's like, he was the underdog constantly. I mean, he's the underdog in high school. He's the underdog in college. He's the underdog when he gets drafted. And then he goes out and he proves himself. He gains the confidence. And then the confidence and the success is kind of the motivation for him now. So he's always had this like motivating factor of like wanting to constantly be better. So
yeah, so he's like the Joker.
Yeah, kind of. That's what I'm saying. He has like a villain arc.
I like that. Yeah, because Joe Burrow went number 1. And then you look down, you had Jeff Okudah, who's now a Minnesota Viking. You had Herbert, Isaiah, you had Henry Ruggs. So that was a Henry Ruggs year. Yeah. So that's the one. When the Raiders did that, I think that set everything in motion because people were like, wait, what? So you go Henry Ruggs, then Jerry Jeudy, which again, you could have, CeeDee Lamb. Yep, that was CeeDee Lamb's year because that was the infamous phone from his girlfriend. I love that video. And then you had everybody thought Justin Jefferson to the Eagles was a dead set, and then you got Jalen Reagor. And so from there, then the Vikings, you have the Rick Spillman famous video of like, wait, what? What just happened?
And all the coaches on the phone.
And all the coaches were laughing at it, laughing, and you could see people in the background laughing. And they couldn't say what they were thinking, but Zim was just like, wait, what? What who they just take? And so everybody's like, oh man. Honestly, I thought it was one of those like Vikings forgot to go to the podium mistake things. Like I thought maybe the Eagles gave the wrong card or something. Like
isn't that so crazy?
Not many times you can dunk on the Eagles in the last 10 years. That's one of them. That's maybe the only one. You can
that video will be in the history of NFL videos, like in about 10, because they can't really do it now.
Like a TCU receiver over
LSU receiver. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and TCU 25 years.
And Sam, you know this when we talked about this before. Like Dotson and all. Like I've never liked TCU receivers. I just feel like that offense was gimmicky, just like Oregon receivers. Like we have not seen it. Like Oregon receivers go for 1,200 yards, 1,300 yards, 14. They never actually do much in the NFL because it's the offense. The offense makes them look great. Whereas if you watch Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase run routes with Joe Burrow was part of this, but you watch them run routes, they were running routes. Like they were running deep overs. They were running digs. They were running posts. You had Terrence, was in that group too, the other receiver. The other, number 6. What's his name? Terrence, shoot. He went to the either the Jags, I think, or he's in the NFL right now. But he was a pick later too, like in the next, I think, year or two. So you had all those receivers out there. Come on now. Like, I don't know how you watch film and say, yeah, let me get this TCU receiver because he ran fast. No, that was dumb. But hey, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Eagles.
thank you. That's such a wild what if in NFL history and Vikings history.
I know Zim isn't petty, but I wish Zim one day would just send like a fruit basket to the Eagles facility that goes viral or something that says thanks for Justin Jefferson or something. Like
Zim is petty. I think he would do that. That's
what I'm saying. Like when he's done with it all and he can sit back and have fun, like I hope him and Rick, because I think Rick Spielman might tell that story one day because he's out on pods now. But I hope like that story gets out there that when that happened, they were like, I can't believe the Eagles just did this, like because they haven't said, nobody's physically or said it, But I know at some point it's going to start to come out when they get older.
When Jefferson is beginning to, he's going on the retirement tour, the farewell tour. People will write stories about like the path of Justin Jefferson, and they'll talk to the Eagles and they'll talk to the Vikings, and that's when it'll all be revealed.
I mean, even the Cowboys. Do you feel bad? Like if you're the Cowboys, do you feel bad you took CeeDee Lamb over? I don't think you can with that one.
No.
Nah, I mean you've gotten so much.
But I think the Broncos probably could say with Jerry Jeudy, they probably are like, and then you could definitely say the Raiders. The Raiders are definitely like, oh my God, we could have took anybody else. But like I always wondered that, like, because CeeDee Lamb was CeeDee Lamb's the one. He's the one that actually played well and has been playing well. Like other than that, and that's why the draft is so fun. You never know. So we'll find out about JJ McCarthy.
No doubt. Vikings were a takeaway machine last year. Can they duplicate it in 2025? We address that after a quick pause. $33. That was the number of takeaways the Vikings had last year, tied for first in the NFL. Can it continue? Ron, you were just touching on Andrew Van Ginkel, and you think that things like pick sixes from the edge rusher maybe aren't going to sustain themselves into the new year. Can the Vikings continue to be a takeaway machine team? Let's actually kick it over to Julia first, and then we'll get to Ron. And can the Vikings keep it going?
Absolutely. Yes. We got so many guys that have come back this season that last year was their first year. Do I think teams are going to be a little bit more ready for this Vikings defense? Yes. Because, to start out the season, that's when like Brock Purdy was like, whoa, team's crazy, like that kind of stuff. And then towards the end of the season, it felt like teams were starting to figure it out. But I always have faith that Brian Flores has a little something up his sleeve. So I'm going to go, I think that they can absolutely build off of what they started last year, especially considering they have a lot of the same guys on this team that are now entering year 2 with Brian Flores, which is always helpful. I know like Gink has, played for Brian Flores before, and so he kind of gets it. But Jonathan Bernard, I'm interested to see what he's like in year 2. Byron Murphy now year 3. I mean, when he started, he was taking on a veteran role, just joining the team. And now he's got that confidence from the season that he had last year, having a career year. And now he's headed into this season, I think a little bit more motivated. And I think he's got more confidence because if you remember the start of last season, he was saying like, there's so many interceptions that could have been, and I just can't get my hand on the ball. And then boom, he has all those interceptions that he had, which is he'd never done that before. And so, I think so. I think that they've added depth as well too. So, I've got faith. I've got faith that they can run it back once more.
Yeah, they had 24 interceptions last year, and that was first in the league, Ron, by 5. 24 picks compared to the Texans with 19 in second place. So I guess the question is, are interceptions something you can carry over? Is that is it luck? Is it skill? Is it scheme? What is it?
So two things. Getting after the ball, we know that defense, they do practice. Like if you look at their individual drills, every position Brian Flores talked about this too. It's the peanut punch, like Byron Murphy, those guys, they're trying to find ways to get the ball out. The quarterback, when they're going after the quarterback, they're looking for exposure ways to get the ball out. From an interception standpoint, I struggle to see them getting that many. And only because of what Julia said. People know what Brian Flores is going to do now. Now, can you stop it? Because he's going to disguise it. Theo Jackson kind of, we can't give away too much because we respect the Vikings and Theo. And so, but Theo kind of gave us some intel. The stuff we put on film for you guys to view is basic stuff. But the stuff that Theo and I talked about later, I mean, there's some things Brian Flores does. It's like Julia said, good luck. Like, figure it out. But here's where I go. I'm going to break this down game to game real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time. Bears, yes, I think they get interceptions. Falcons, yes. Bengals, no. Joe Burrow is smart. He has good weapons. They're going to get they play the extendo game where they go out wide and go 5-yard hitches and let Jamar Chase, they let T. Higgins get them the yards. Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers we're going to get, But then you got the Browns. I think, yes, if it's Shadur Sanders. Eagles, no. Chargers, no. Lions, probably not. Ravens, no. They don't throw the ball enough. But Bears, again, yes. Packers, yes, Jordan Love is going to do it. And then you got your old friend, Sam Darnold. And Brian Flores, we know what he did to Sam Darnold when he was with the Patriots and Sam Darnold was with the Jets. Can he do it again? I think so. We'll see. Commanders, probably not. Cowboys, yes. Giants, heck yes. And then the Lions again, I think later in the season when the Lions have to visit the Vikings over Christmas, I think there's going to be some Christmas gifts in the Vikings defensive room. And then Packers, yes. So I'm cutting out probably half the games that last year they got 1 or 2 from because the quarterbacks they're going to play this year a little bit better. So I'd say no in the interceptions, but I still think they can get some turnovers over the high clip just because when you make a quarterback play fast, he's more willing. And again, I hope it's not Shadur Sanders. I hope it's the Bears. I feel like there's a game coming where they're going to have like 3 interceptions. Like I just feel like they have that game in them, and I don't know which quarterback. It could be the Falcons. It's going to be a younger quarterback. But I feel like they're going to have one of those games where they make them see something that's not there.
Here's my thought on this too. The Vikings might not take away as many balls as last year, but also could they fumble a little less and like keep the take give even?
I forgot about that one.
Because the Vikings have been so fumbly themselves, right? Is that a word? They've got fumbleitis.
Ball security's been a problem?
Fumbly. Fumbly.
Yeah. They've been all fumbly. They're dropping the football. 15 fumbles lost 2 years ago, 9 lost last year. Could they just fumble at a normal amount, and then that balances it out? So you might pick off like 6 fewer balls, but yeah, don't fumble so much. That's that's going to be a big JJ McCarthy thing. Can you not fumble the football? That was a Kirk problem, kind of a Sam Darnold problem a little bit. I can't remember how many Sam lost last year. Let's not do that. Let's stop fumbling. In 2025. That's my New Year's resolution.
It says fumbly is an adjective, but it's not a standard word. So I think whoever has done this enough, AI is accepting fumbly as a word, but it's not a standard word, meaning it's not in the dictionary. But it is an adjective towards clumsiness and the focus on dropping things or handling things awkwardly. There you go, Sam.
Oh, that's AI.
AI agrees with you.
All right.
I don't know if you heard the ChatGPT standard, though, that they just did with brainwaves. They said that people, just Google it, people that use, I forgot, I don't know if they were college students. I think this is because it sounds like this is people that have to turn in work. It says people that use ChatGPT for their homework versus people that don't. The ChatGPT people had like 30 to 40% less brainwave, whatever. Like their brains weren't even moving a lot compared to the people that had to actually, do their own paper. I was like, oh Lord, we're cooked if people like think that this is going to get them through life because they're not using their brains anymore because ChatGPT is helping them out with their papers. So
no, this is just like parenting. You do everything for your kids, and it might seem convenient, just to not make them struggle, but they also grow up and they're coddled, right? They're spoiled. Like they don't know how to do anything. They're not resilient.
Right.
You have to go through the struggle, for sure. 100%.
Tie your own shoe. Figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be some pain. There's got to be some pain in your life. When we return, the Vikings The grades from the NFLPA on family treatment so glowing for the Vikings. I asked the question, is it helping them build the team? Is it helping them retain their guys and get free agents? We discussed that in our final segment of the football party. Ron, I know you've talked about this a lot, about how the Vikings have supported families. And ESPN wrote a big feature about the difference between the highly graded teams like the Vikings and the lowly graded teams. The Jaguars thrown in there, the Browns, the Bengals.
Jags called a stray.
Fs. Yeah. Like wives of players getting turned away at the front of the stadium, stuff like that. Not the case with the Vikings. You think about it, Ron, the Vikings have basically retained anybody they've wanted to. Like the guys they've let walk, I think they kind of let walk by design, but they extend Van Ginkel, they extend Phillips. Harrison Smith keeps coming back. Byron Murphy, Hawkinson, Darisaw, like nobody's angling to get out of here right now. And you're getting the top free agents that it seems like you want. It feels like there's some real impact with these reports about how well the Vikings treat people.
Yeah. So when you read this, so for instance, it says the Atlanta Falcons, they receive an A grade, second highest ranked grade. One of the players for the anonymous players, put your name on it, man, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, because you're not even a player anymore. He says, no, sorry. First I'll go Aaron Jones talks about the Viking staff and how they handle certain needs for players and their families. He said each week the Viking staff support staff will ask players if they have family traveling to the game. If they do, they will ask staff how many tickets do they need. They will say whether the family requires hotel accommodations, and they do all the little stuff for the families. It takes all that away from us, which makes it easier for us, to paraphrase. He said, I know it's sure your family's taken care of and helping, but it helps getting sideline passes and everything else. There's no stress and they're in good hands. So that's a good thing when your wife, kids, whatever, mom is taken care of. You don't have to worry about them because you can't be in the locker room and you got to check your phone because your mom's like, hey, my tickets are here and I'm outside the stadium. You're like, man, I got to play. Like, Mom, what are you doing? And so I think that's a huge let off. And then here's the Jaguars one. He said anonymity. He asked for anonymity. They scored an F for their report card. He said, I know you're supposed to the ones to tell your family certain things, but there's there's 30 other things that us as players have to worry about, other than just our family getting last minute information. There's been miscommunication, information's bad. He said, when you have to blank give them tickets or blank to give them all the things, stuff happens. You know what I mean? We don't know what you mean, man. Just say it. Like, so clearly he's tiptoeing around what's really happening with the Jags. So I feel bad for Travis Hunter. But when you think about that, that's a big deal. Like if I'm Sauce Gardner, and I'm sick of the Jets and I'm looking for a place to go, I'm gonna that's gonna come up. Like, man, wait, you want me to be opposite Travis Hunter? Cool. Wait, what? You don't even check on my mom to make sure she's in the stadium. So and we had Quinn Jersvig on our show. We had Leo Cano and Chelsea Adolfo-Mensa.
Yep.
And that's what they talked about. They talked about the coach's wife and GM's wife, making sure the wives are handled, whether they want a private jet, whether they want to get to a bus to go to a game. And then Quinn Jersvig talked about the in-stadium stuff. They have a daycare for the kids during a game. That's huge. You could put your little 2-year-old downstairs under the stadium because they don't want to watch anyway. Now you can watch 3 hours of your husband and you don't have to worry about feeding, changing the diaper, and they have other friends down there to play with. It's like a big play area for the kids. And so all that little stuff that they thought about to make the families' lives easier, because a lot of teams just care about the players. Hey, your family we don't pay your family. You worry about your family. And I think that is huge. And when you can use that as a tool to recruit, and then other players talk to other players, because look at what's his name? Jair Alexander, when he reached out to Lamar Jackson about being a possible Raven. That's, he was probably like, cool. If you say it's cool, it's cool. And I'm pretty sure that happens a lot. When guys are thinking about going to another team or possibly being traded, they definitely reach out to guys they know. And yeah, Jags, got to fix that, man. You got to fix that.
Julia.
Yeah, I mean the family stuff. I mean, it's everything that Ron said. And I did a piece with Ari Jackson last year, Theo Jackson's wife, and she kind of gave me the ins and outs of how that works game day for them, and it's like a breeze for her. She gets to this. I think I was going to a 3:30 game or something like that. So she got to ride with Theo to the stadium after they went and had lunch with some of their friends, and they ride in. He walks in, he gets off the elevator at one point, she gets off the elevator at another point. She's got all her passes already. Also, she was talking about having people come into town and how easy the Vikings player family management was in order to get passes for their friends that were coming into town. And it wasn't just like it was a couple and their newborn baby, and everything was accommodated for. They didn't have anything to worry about. There was a space for them to go to breastfeed. There was a space to go to that was quiet for the newborn baby. And it was just like a breeze for them throughout I was with them for a lot of the day, and there were no problems. There was no nothing. And, thinking about trying to bring like a newborn child to an NFL game is you think that that's like going to be a hassle in and of itself. And the Vikings just made it so easy on them. And Ari says the same thing. Cause they have a son, they have two sons now, but, a 3 or 4 year old, and now they're newborn, and she's not worried about game day. She doesn't worry about game day. She gets to get her makeup done and pick out her outfit, and then just get their kids in the car and go, and then everything's taken care of when they get there. So there's not like any craziness besides just being a parent. They don't have to worry about it. And so that's a huge deal. I think that people like overlook that for sure. And like the teams that aren't doing that, go touch grass, like and I
she means it in the best way. That means get grounded, people.
Grounded. It's a privilege, like, yes, of course, to be an NFL player, but you're right, Ron, in saying like do you want your players worried about where their significant other and their children or their parents are to start out a game, or do you want them to not have to think about it at all? And that's the trade-off that you're making when you don't accommodate for these people.
Here's another comment I want to say that is in the article for those that want to go look at it. It also says, and this is from a player directly, of course, he wants to be anonymity, another player, but he said, I want to make sure my family is okay so I don't have to worry about them. Sometimes these security guards ain't letting my damn wife in.
Jeez.
He was mad. I've got to worry about that, or we've got to call a team rep to handle this. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't bleep happen. Family should be already taken care of. They should be an extension of the player in certain areas. And I think he's dead on. They are. That literally, you like when a player and his kids and his wife aren't taken care of, like, why would somebody want to sign with you? Like, and I don't understand how many owners don't understand that. And that's what's sad when you see what was it? The Raiders one year, the Jags, the Commanders got Fs. Like,
didn't the Chiefs get an F one time?
Yeah. Has the new report card come out yet, Sam? Or this is just people got leaked?
I think this year the Vikings got an A+ in family treatment.
Okay.
Number 1 in the league. So yeah, and Ryan Kelly directly in this story says the survey has had a major impact. You're looking for a new home. You've got kids. You have a family. What's the treatment like? If you treat my family well, I'm going to be happier as a person. I'm going to be happier as a player. I'm going to be in a better mood, and we'll probably have more success. I mean, that's direct impact right there on signing a key free agent simply because you have like an infrastructure that supports family in the new city.
True.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's our show for today. Minnesota Football Party on
Get
Wednesdays.
Well, Red Panda. Red Panda. I saw she got hurt in Minnesota. Get well. Get well.
Yeah. I can't. I've seen I haven't watched the clip. I
haven't watched the clip either.
No, it's like it's too terrifying because that's my greatest fear is watching a halftime performer actually get hurt. I want to live in a bubble where the stunts that they do, they're just impervious to injury. I don't want to go down that road. So Red Panda, you better be okay. Ron Johnson Show. Check out Max Brosmer coming up next week. Julia Daniels of Care 11. She's on the evening news, and that's Bo the Cat. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Thanks a lot for watching, listening, commenting, and subscribing. Talk to you next time.